Previously we had a fairly long break between streams, but now we're going to have one of my shortest ever as I just streamed some stuff earlier, but now we're going to get back into it. This time we have on the left, we have Chris playing Dash, and on the right, we have Chonigman, aka Colin, playing Ira. Let's see how this one goes. So the looks like our ninja player here is going to go first. So Ira, this is actually the hero from the Learn to Play like starter deck. Ira Crimson Haze, your second attack each turn gains +1 damage. So we're going to start out with a simple Harmonized Kadachi swing for 1. Once per turn action, pay 1 to attack. If you have a card in your pitch zone with cost 0, Harmonized Kadachi gains skill again. He does. And then we're going to follow up with the Zephyr Needle. Once per turn action, pay 1, attack, go again. If it's defended by a card with block greater than its attack, destroy Zephyr Needle when the combat chain closes. So this is high risk, but because it went up to 3 from Ira's ability, it's not at risk of being broken unless there's an attack reaction, which there isn't. We see a Razor Reflex coming in for another 3 damage. Okay, he's playing this pretty aggressively here. Ira is known for having a kind of good kind of control game plan, but there's some other strategies you can do also. And this time we see an aggro one with an E-Strike 7, but it's defended by 3 cards, so 9 block there. That's going to stop that E-Strike in its tracks. So Chonigman starts out aggressively and manages to inflict 4 damage there. And Chris says, and this is why I hate Ira. I guess because of that huge aggression. Now, this Zephyr Needle is very risky because whoops. Sorry, guys, messed up my camera angle a little bit there. The downside of this Zephyr Needle is that if it's defended by a card with block greater than its attack, you destroy it when the combat chain closes. This is horrible. This is like a crushingly bad downside. So, however, because he gets the +1 from Ira's ability, this is actually strength 3, and it will only be broken by a defense reaction, which it looks like Chris is playing an aggro mech deck, and in an aggro deck, there's a good chance that you just honestly do not have an attack reaction. Or, I'm sorry, a defense reaction. Now, interestingly, we did also see... So, how might you tell that this is an aggro deck? Well, I'll tell you. There are some clues. So, first off, he's using the Plasma Barrel Shot. This is an aggro weapon. This weapon is only better than the pistol if you boost a lot. And because of that, the only decks that equip the Plasma Barrel Shot, generally speaking, are aggro decks. Secondly, he started out with a Teklo Core in play as his starting item. Dash gets to start with 1 item in play. Teklo Core is an item that's just going to give you some energy. It doesn't really do anything else. And is also very aggressive as compared to the typical start with a induction chamber that we see with the more mid-range or control decks. And lastly, we see a Vest of the First Fist here equipped. Instead, I actually don't know why this is equipped. I would almost certainly rather see the Teklo Foundry Heart because it not only blocks for more, but the resources are going to be pretty good in a deck that's consistently boosting. However, this does offer 2 resources guaranteed instead of there being that mischance from the Foundry Heart. Still a little surprising, though, as it is triggered as an on-hit. So this is a Combustible Courier coming in here. If this hits, the next attack you boost gains +3. It is going to be blocked for 4. There's a Flying Kick and and the Breaking Scales block. Now we see another boost coming in with a 0 to 60 here. Strength 4 with boost. No energy currently floating, but we could easily see another boost from either that high speed impact. I don't think he can pay for the throttle here. We're going to see a pass here from Chonigman, so that's going to be 4 damage getting through, assuming no defense reaction. Yep, 4 damage gets through. Let's see if that... there is a chance... I don't think we're going to see Vest used here. I could be wrong, but I think he's gonna hold off on that. He's maybe oh no, he's going for it. He's going big. He fires off his Vest of the First Fist here. So this is he gets when an attack action card you control hits, you can destroy this if you do gain 2 energy. So he can use that 2 energy to throw out the throttle here potentially, and then yeah, that's what he's. Or he could have done the high speed impact and then use the throttle to pitch and load. Oh, but because he would have to load the Plasma Barrel Shot, it would break the chain. Okay, so that makes sense. Coming in for 5 with no boost. And this doesn't have anything else. It's just 5 damage with no boost here. So big swings coming in here. That was a total of, I think, 13 damage that we saw from this first turn. Though obviously it is going to be heavily blocked. double block there with a Torrent and a Command and Conquer being used. That's gonna be the turn. So Chonigman started off inflicting 4 damage and with a big combo, and we saw Chris here making a big combo of his own, and once again 4 damage inflicted. The difference is that Chris here, Colin here, does not draw up at the end of his turn because he went first, whereas Chris did because he was going second, which is more advantageous. He does put a nice defense reaction in Arsenal, and he has a really, really defensive turn here. He has two defense reactions in hand, a defense reaction in Arsenal, and a Flick Flack in hand, so there's 3 defense reactions in hand. I think we're going to see some heavy defense coming out here. And this does also indicate that he's likely playing a control version of Ira rather than one of the more aggro ones. Now, interestingly, there's actually some pummels here. That's a bit of a surprise. Pummel is not always a card that you're going to see in this Mechanologist deck, but it does potentially allow him. The problem is that he doesn't have cards that Pummel works with. The only cards that he has attack actions that he can play are expensive, so that Pummel is not going to work out for him this turn. He might just pitch it. Now, just pitching it is going to create some threat, kind of make his opponent scared maybe. He goes for a high-speed impact and boosts it. The boost does land. Covenant at strength 4, and if this hits, the next attack you boost gains dominate. Prime opportunity to use a 4-block defense reaction, and he does with a Fate Foreseen coming out there. Blocking this attack for 4. Followed up by a zipper hit here, which also lands its boost. So that's 5, go again. Oh, and he did use his Teklo Core to load his gun, I believe. So he had 2 energy to begin with from the Teklo Core, and so he used that to load his Plasma Barrel shot. Then he pitched these 2 red pummels, each one allowing him to play a 1-cost attack. So 4 with go again. Colin here's got to think about how he wants to block. He's going to opt to use his Springboard Somersault. Or is this 5? Oh, I guess it was actually 5. Yeah, I guess it was a red, not a yellow. And then we're going to see Spark of Genius played with X equals 0. So Spark of Genius costs double X. Search your deck for a Mechanologist item card with cost X, put it into the arena, and then shuffle. If you've boosted, draw a card. So he's going to play it and get another Teklo Core out. Entering the arena with 2 steam counters, and at the beginning of the action phase, remove 1 and gain 2 energy. So this Teklo Core is going to power up the next few turns, and because he boosted, he draws a card, which is then going to get thrown into Arsenal. It is a red Combustible Courier, which is a pretty scary card to have in there. All right, so Chris here with a very, very aggressive Mechanologist here, landing a lot of boosts. I have to wonder if he's playing anything neutral at all. Well, we know at least there's those pummels, but I'm not sure about anything else. And he has landed some major damage here. So now we're going to see Ira coming in with the Harmonized Kodachi, almost certainly not blocked here. It'd be very odd to block this Kodachi attack. Followed up by the Zephyr Needle for 3. This will probably be blocked by 1 card. Just try to shut down that Zephyr Needle. It won't actually destroy it, but it will prevent the next attack from potentially drawing. I think it's pretty common for someone to want to block the second attack against a ninja. But no, he's going to take it. So I guess he's challenging his opponent. Show me the big damage. And yeah, there isn't big damage to be had. So he's not. He didn't opt to go for that. Now, interestingly, we didn't see that Rising Knee Thrust played either. It might be being saved here because that's combo and can synergize with Flick Flack. No, he put the Flick Flack away. So yeah, I'm not sure. He could have played that, and potentially, if it had hit, he could have drawn a card. But I guess he thought it would just be blocked, and it's better to. I don't know though. I think I would have played that. There, because he had a card for Arsenal anyway. All right, that's fair. Oops. Card. We have some unfortunate collisions there. So the Teklo Core powers him up, and he hits a high speed. He plays a high speed impact and hits the boost. Coming in at strength 2, go again. If it hits, the next attack he boosts gains dominate. Straight Up Knives says, "Yo Tower, thoughts on starting a podcast?" What do you mean? like what type of podcast are you thinking about starting? I've done a podcast before. I did one for Warhammer 40,000 Conquest LCG. It was pretty interesting. I think it's fun. If you have time to do it, I think it's a fun thing to do. I think it lets you, you can put out some content there, and you can put out some interesting information, and it can be a good format for people to listen to, like on the go to work and stuff, where a video isn't as necessary. So I think if you're thinking about starting a podcast, I say, go for it, man. Okay, so now we're gonna see a. I don't really know what's happening here. There's something odd going on. Straight Up Knife says solo session blood style starring you. Yeah, I could do something like that. I actually so I have these videos, but I'm actually also putting out I'm also putting out just like written strategy articles, which I tend to prefer as a format to the podcast situation. So I have a bunch of articles out over at what is it? Towernumber9.com. Actually, I have a strategy blog, and I'm going to be putting up an article probably today or in the next few days about defense. I think it's less likely that I'm going to do a podcast for this game right now, but it could happen in the future. I mean, we'll see. So back to the game for now. The Combustible Courier coming out, strength 4. If this hits the next attack you boost, this combat chain gains +3. It is going to be intercepted by that Fate Foreseen from the arsenal, though, so it doesn't hit to give the +3. Then we're going to see a Pedal to the Metal coming in. If it hits, the next attack gains Dominate. This has just been a crazy turn. And the thing is, he's going to be able to shoot his Plasma Barrel shot at the end of this for another 4 damage, and then throw that other pedal of the metal in. Throw that other pedal to the metal in Arsenal. I think that's what we're going to see here. So this is an interesting matchup with Ira versus an aggro mechanologist. Players that are more familiar with Classic Constructed as a format probably think of Mechanologist as being a more defensive class that wants to try to build up a rig, sort of almost like a runner and net runner. They want to get their items out, get set up, and then they become very efficient once they're rigged up. Almost like playing Shaper and Netrunner. But in this style of aggro deck that's focused on boost, that's very different. So then the Rising Knee Thrust is played there to block the pedal to the metal, and then we are going to see the Plasma Barrel shot fired. Strength X. X is equal to 1 plus the number of times you've boosted. That's 3. So that's going to be a total of 4 damage, and the 4 damage is going to get through. Straight Up Knives says, don't know about the website. I'll check it out. Appreciate your content. Yeah, I'm going to be posting some more stuff up there. Thanks for the appreciation. Let me know what you think. Dole93 also, thanks for the follow, and Sorceries and Chris Liu from the previous stream, thanks for the follow, much appreciated. Okay, so we saw the 4 damage get through there, and now we're gonna see Chonigman putting out some attacks of his own. He could have defended more but didn't want to. It's interesting. It looks like Soulbead Strike, Kadachi, then into the Zephyr Needle for the other 3 damage. He's not going to be able to play that Enlightened Strike that he has in hand, but he can throw it into Arsenal and potentially have something very scary coming forward in the future. Let's see. Oh, no. We're going to see Chris just take the hit from that Zephyr Needle, taking another 3 damage. So that's going to be it's an interesting situation there, He did 4 damage there after that with just some basic stuff. So we see the infamous High Octane play. This is a power card for Mechanologist. Whenever you boost a card this turn, gain an action point. Then you draw a card when you play this, and it has Go Again. Now, the one thing I'll say, though, is that this sort of deck that has the Plasma Barrel shot is not going to be able to get as much of an advantage from the extra action points as one that uses the pistol. So one of the things with High Octane is that you can just repeatedly load and shoot your pistol for an action point each time. Because the pistol does not have once per turn, that's not something that you can do with the Plasma Barrel shot. So I think High Octane is less effective for these sorts of decks than it is for one of the classic like pistol setup mech decks. All right, the High Octane is going to be followed up here by a High Speed Impact coming in for 4 with Go Again. If it hits, next attack you boost gains Dominate. Flick Flack intercepts it, and if the next card you defend with this turn is a card with combo, it gains +2. Unfortunately, though, for Colin, he doesn't have a card with combo in his hand, so the text of Flick Flack is going to be blank there. It needs to kind of line up with your other cards to be fully effective. That's going to be followed up by a Pedal to the Metal coming in here. If this hits, your next attack this turn gains Dominate. And this is a red pedal to the metal, so that's for 5. This aggro mech deck is definitely putting Colin on the back foot a bit more than you might expect. But Ira has a lot of grind ability to just grind out the game with the Kadachi and the Zephyr Needle here. So he's definitely able to do some serious damage of his own. Oh wow! So Colin here is actually going to block with his Mask of Momentum. This is not what you always see. The last 2 energy there. It's going to be used to load the Plasma Barrel shot and then end turn. So he blocked with the Mask of Momentum to deny the pedal to the metal hit, which is going to leave him with a relatively limited offering for his own turn. The thing is, though, he can play that Sigil of Solace he has in hand to heal for 3, and then play the Enlightened Strike that he has in Arsenal, putting the Flying Kick on the bottom of his deck, so he can still do 7 damage this turn and heal 3, which is pretty legit. Or he could put that Sigil of Solace into his arsenal to kind of try and fool his opponent into thinking he's closer to a victory than he actually is. I think this is going to be E-Strike 7. It's conceivable he would do E-Strike Go Again, but I think E-Strike 7 is more likely. I guess with E-Strike... So with E-Strike... Oh, no, he'll do Go Again. Okay. I got it wrong. I said he'd do Go Again, but he did 7. The thing is, if he did Go Again, he could have the E-Strike coming in for 5, and then he could use his Tunic to get 1 energy, and then throw out a Zephyr Needle shot for 3. So it would actually be 1 more total damage, which I think would be strong here because that would actually be threatening lethal. But that's not what he... not what he opted to do, and we are going to see a double block from equipment there, it looks like. So that's going to be, oh, no, it looks like Chris is rethinking it. He was originally going to block with his skull cap and his gauntlet. That would have been a total of 3 block, but he rethinks it, taking another look at his stuff, and let's see what he opts to do. Block for 3 with the throttle. And he is going to throw that skull cap in there to block up to 5. So it looks like right now he's going to be taking 2 damage from this attack. He's thinking about it, but he decides not to. Maybe he's going to... Now, normally you might want to save that to prevent on-hit effects, but the main on-hit effect is Mask, which is now done with. On the other hand, he is potentially worried about like a Torrent of Tempo, which is going to have if it hits Go Again, or a Soulbead Strike, also it has if it hits Go Again. So he's maybe going to try to save that equipment for there. Often saving equipment until late in the game can be a good strategy. Okay, so now we're going to see a... start off with the strong card 0 to 60, which boosts, which costs 0 for a boost. 4 with Go Again coming in here. The boost does land. Now there is a sigil, I believe, in the arsenal, and there's another sigil in hand. The sigil in hand is just going to be played to heal for 3, and then he takes the 1 damage. Okay. Then we're going to see a pitch on the zipper hit in hand. Used to pitching the blue zipper hit to play the red zipper hit, and he opts not to boost. So he's just coming in here for 5 damage without Go Again. A little bit of a surprise there. He has 2 energy floating after this. I'm a little confused as to why he wouldn't simply use Throttle. Why he wouldn't want to keep going to use Throttle and then the Plasma Barrel shot. It's a little less aggressive than I anticipated. So we do see a Flick Flat coming out to block 4, and then he's going to heal 3. So he gained, and the attack was for 5, so he gets hit for 1, but then heals 3. So on net, he's actually up 2. And Tenryu is then going to end his turn. I'm a little surprised. That he didn't boost there. I think I would have boosted and then played the card from Arsenal, maybe boosted again and gone for the Plasma Barrel shot. I'm not entirely sure what considerations he was operating under, though. Maybe he knew that those pummels were going to come up again, and he was worried that he was going to hit them. He was off by 1 if that was the case, but yeah. So we're going to see the Iron Knot Gauntlet used to block the Kadachi, and the Arcanite Skullcap used to block 2 against the Zephyr Needle. 1 damage getting through. And then there is going to be a Springboard Somersault in Arsenal for defense. It looks like Ira is gaining an advantage here, just grinding out this game with heavy defense and then some weapon swings, plus that nice healing from those other cards. Okay, so we're going to see a Boosted Throttle coming in here. Boosted Throttle coming in for a total of 6 damage. Doesn't have any special effect, but he does have what it takes here to potentially play a pummel on that throttle. He could pitch one of his pummels to play the other one, or he could pitch that 0 to 60 to play pummel. He could pitch 0 to 60 and double pummel here. That would actually be really scary. It's going to be a block for 3. Yeah, he's going to do it. Here comes the pummel. Pummel. Okay, this is a red pummel, very big. Attack gets +4, and if this hits the defending hero, discards a card, so he's up to 10. There is going to be a defense reaction played, so that Springboard Somersault's going to bring him up to 7 defense. Then the second pummel, going huge here, up to 14. And I believe... I don't actually know if this causes 2 cards to be discarded. I don't know if that affects stacks. Let's see if there's a ruling on that. Okay, so then the Flick Flack is played from hand. So he's saying discard 2. I'm going to check in to make sure it is discard 2. If it is, that's the turn. That's the turn over for his opponent. Checking the Welcome to Wraith release notes. I don't know if that actually stacks because it might be 2 separate instances of the same keyword. But we're looking it up. It doesn't actually say if it does in the release notes. So it's just going to be a... I believe there was a Spring Tunic used there for a Kadachi poke, and it was blocked by the Skullcap. Now, unfortunately, this is all she wrote. Chris has lost the game because he's out of cards in his deck. All those so he hasn't actually lost the game, but he's not going to be able to win the game. All those boosts have left him with no cards in deck, and he doesn't have lethal. This Ira deck just has to defend this one turn, and then that's basically game over. So, unfortunate situation there, and indeed there's a concession. Maybe that's the other reason that he didn't take that boost earlier. He knew that he was running out of cards. Now the funny thing is, if not for those Sigils of Solace, his opponent would be down to 1 health and would die. Chris says, "Why do you have so many reacts?" and posts a crying face. Unfortunately, that defensive Ira deck was able to defend enough to stop the aggro mech, and with all those boosts, aggro mech just ran out of cards before being able to close the distance. Okay. Now they're going for a rematch here, so let's see what happens in the rematch. I'll stream that one as well. Let's see here. All right, so in the first game, our Ninja Ira was able to prevail. In the second game, the aggro mech, let's see if they can make the comeback. All right, round 2. Aggro mech versus defensive Ira. Let's see what happens here. Opts to go first. Definitely not the option I would take. I think you really want to go second when you're aggro in this game. His Teklo core is wasted on his first use, in my opinion. And additionally, because his opponent can block freely, or more freely, I don't know. We'll see what happens here. Maybe he's hoping that because his opponent will block more freely, it will lower their own cards in deck. But I don't know. I don't see a fatigue situation ever going his way with all the stuff that he's going to boost off. Here comes the defense. So this is a Combustible Courier coming in for 4. If it hits, the next attack you boost gains +3. Blocked by a Soulbead Strike for 3. He says, "You sure?" And his opponent says no, and then decides to block with a defense reaction instead. Now, if one of those pummels was available, this would be like incredibly crushing, because not only would it land for additional damage and a discard, but it would also cause his opponent to have to do a. It would also cause his opponent to have to. It would also cause the next attack to get +3 because it would stack the on-hit effects. And then we're going to see a simple card, a simple zipper hit played. There's a blue zipper hit for 3, and it is blocked. So on that first turn, no damage actually got through. He made his opponent use a defense reaction, and he did get to load up his Plasma Barrel Shot and put a card in Arsenal, but not incredible. He does have a really good hand, though, with 3 zipper hits potentially, and he does have a Pedal to the Metal in Arsenal, which could potentially be thrown in there, though it's more expensive. And let's see here. Sorry if you're hearing iPhone typing noises. I'm just writing up the rules question for the Discord there. All right, Kadachi starts us off, and we're not going to see any block here. No block against that Kadachi. It's going to be followed up by a Zephyr Needle for another for a 3 damage from Ira. That one is going to be blocked by the Gauntlet and the Arcanite Skullcap, blocked for 3. And that block for 3 is going to make it so that the Mask of Momentum is not active against this Soulbead Strike, which is coming in for 4. 4 and go again on hit. We could see if it hits, we'll probably see that it followed up by that Torrent of Tempo. This is actually a very aggressive hand that we're seeing here from Colin. So he says here, tempting. No blocks. Okay. So then he throws in an Ancestral Empowerment for +1 and draw a card, inflicting 5 damage, also granting go again. Oh man, and he has a Crane Dance, which he can now play with the combo. This is not something that this deck always wants to do. So check this out, guys. He plays the Crane Dance, coming in at strength 3 with go again, and it can't be defended by attack action cards with base attack greater than the number of chain links you control. So it can't be defended by attack action cards with base attack greater than 4. So any 5 attack cards in Chris's hand can't be used to block. No blocks there. I missed some. Oh, he missed his trigger. If there is a 3rd hit, he should get a mask trigger. Oh, so I guess he got it but didn't want to arsenal the card. Okay, so then he draws this that he'll probably I guess he could also just play it because he hit with that for the go again. He's just gonna arsenal. Okay. All right. So or no, he's not gonna arsenal. Okay, so he probably should have played it if he wasn't gonna arsenal it because it would just be bonus damage for free. But that's okay. He might have wanted to keep it for extra defense with a Flick Flack. Okay, so with that little interlude over, we're now gonna see a big attack here. Let's see here. Pedal to the Metal coming in. For strength 5, if it hits, the next attack will get Dominate. Blocked by the Breaking Scales plus the Flick Flack there for 4. Then that's going to be pitched and followed up by then we're going to see a pitch and a follow-up of a Zipper Hit. Zipper Hit yellow coming in here for 4 damage with Boost. Boost lands. The only cards that don't trigger Boost are his 2 Pummels. 4 with go again. Now he should be blocking here with his combo card that he has in hand, because it will get +3 or whatever defense. I think it's +3 from a red flick flack. Is it always +3? I don't really remember. I don't know what all the different flick flacks are. It is +2. My mistake. +2. So he does block it. That's going to block it completely. Then we're going to see another zipper hit played. Once again boosted, and the boost once again lands. Another 4 with go again. And then he's going to have a third zipper hit for 5 with go again, followed up by his gun. Yeah, there's the third zipper hit. So 5 go again. Boost lands. 5 go again. Now Colin here must be a little worried, because his gun can now fire for another 5 damage. So this is a ridiculously heavy attack turn. With he will have swung for a total of 23 damage this turn. 5 + 4 + 4 + 5 + 5. Now there is 5 defense in hand, but even if all of that is going to be used on the defense, that's going to be another 5 damage suffered. And if some of it is held back, that's going to be more damage to the health. Flying kick here used to block for 3, and the Mask of Momentum again being used to block relatively early, blocking for 2 there. And the Plasma Barrel Shot coming out there again for 5. This one looks like it's going to land, inflicting 5 damage. All right, a huge attack turn there for our Mechanologist, but actually still behind on total life. I think we're likely going to see that. Somersault just going into Arsenal and that being the whole turn, as I think it's a good strategy here for him to just try to wait out these attacks. No, he's going for the attack. I would personally just be trying to put up a good defense here, stop these attacks, and try to deck my opponent out. But I guess this time he's taken enough damage early on that maybe he thinks, okay, my opponent is now down to 7. I'm at 11. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to sustain the remaining cards that he has in his deck. I'm going to try to put more pressure on him with damage, try to get some more cards out there. And often tempo is more important. So in this case, yeah, actually, this is good. This is good because he gets to swing that Zephyr Needle as the second attack for 3. So that's a total of 4 damage. Yeah. We did see, I think, the second hit from the Arcanite Skullcap used there to block one of it, but the swing of Kadachi plus Zephyr Needle on Ira is very dangerous. Now, the thing is, the Zephyr Needle is unsafe to use against any opponent who has a defense reaction that's going to block more than 3, which is actually a fair number of opponents, even in Blitz. So it can be a risky card to play, but if you know your opponent doesn't have it, that Zephyr Needle can be very punishing. And in this situation, I think that... Chris is definitely feeling the pain there of that extra 1 damage on those Zephyr hits. Ooh. He goes for a boost and misses, hitting one of his pummels, coming in for 4 damage. Now, the thing is, he can use his Achilles Accelerator to get a second action point, which I think is very likely. We do see the Flick Flack played here. Okay, so the Achilles Accelerator now used to get the extra action point. So this item is kind of insurance for a mech player. As an instant, you can destroy it to gain an action point, but only if you've boosted. So I think now he probably wants to load his gun. No, he's going more aggro than I thought. I might have gone for the gun here. Just play the gun, load the gun, and then play the Teklo Core because your opponent has Flick Flack charged up to block against this attack more efficiently. I might have just ended the attacks there, but he is going to try to do some more pressure, get some more cards out of his opponent's hand. And there is always that chance that they don't have any cards with combo that are going to be able to go with Flick Flack, but that isn't the case here, unfortunately, for our Dash player. So that's going to be a block for 5. And then we are going to see that Teklo Core being played, so that is going to give him some more energy for... Oops, he accidentally puts that into the deck. That's fine. That's fine. If he draws it, he knows it's wrong. He can just put it in the discard at that point. So I can't see the cards that he drew. I heard him draw the cards, but I can't see them. This is a bug that happens sometimes with lag on Tabletop Simulator. My chat message is also lagging, so we'll see if he sees it. If not, they should show up once they're actually used. So it's just giving us a little less informative commentary here for the stream. So there's the Harmonized Kodachi coming in for 1 damage, just the classic Kodachi poke. 1 damage with Go Again. This weapon is very strong. It's debatably the best weapon in the game. Once per turn action, 1 energy attack. If you have a card in your pitch zone with cost 0, it gains Go Again. So this can just constantly, as long as you're pitching cards that cost 0, this can really be putting pressure on. And Ninja has a lot of cards that cost 0. And then this Zephyr Needle is like an even better version with the downside that it's not playable against strong attack reactions, or it's immensely high risk against strong attack reactions, because if they end up getting stopped, if this card ends up getting stopped, that's just it. Having your weapon get destroyed it's not quite game over, but it's like crushingly bad. All right, there's chat. It's lagging a bit. Not sure what happened here. I think I may have heard the table flip. Did he call GG? No. Okay. No blocks. Okay, so he blocked with something to not die from that, and now it's on to the next turn. Sorry for that lag there. He said no blocks a Razor, and if his opponent had a Razor, he would have lost. Okay. Swinging in, 3 with Go Again. On hit, next attack dominates. He's also loaded his gun. So I think he loaded his gun using the energy from the Teklo core. Now he's firing off a high-speed impact here. He'll be able to follow it up with a throttle. And then he'll be able to follow that up with a Plasma Barrel shot for 3. But I don't think this is enough damage to get through the defense here of Ira. So we're going to see Torrent of Tempo used there, blocking for 3. Then indeed we have the follow-up with the throttle coming in for 6. Or wait a minute. Yeah, this was only a yellow high-speed impact, so it didn't hit, so there's no dominate. 6 with no boost. So he's not going to go for the gunshot follow-up. He's just swinging here for 6. Maybe going to try to save that gunshot for a more damaging circumstance later on in the game, where he has more stuff charged up. Now, we could just see... I don't know. I think the problem here is I think we could just see double block. We could just see block with knee thrust and CNC, or we could... yeah. He's going to go for a single block, just take 3, and that's going to be the turn. So this Mechanologist deck is very aggro, but against the strong defenses of Ira, it doesn't seem to be getting the job done. The Ira deck has been able to put out a lot of just put out a lot of attack. And now those Zephyr Needle hits are forcing out blocks. Blocks with the 0 to 60. I think I would have blocked with the high octane here. But I don't know. I'm not an expert. Oh, and then the Tunic used to throw out CNC for 6. Oh, that's nasty. That's almost certainly going to force out a double block, which is going to just kill Dash's tempo. I thought he wasn't going to be able to play it, and it was just going to be an arsenal, but I'd forgotten about the Tunic. That 6 damage from CNC is threatening lethal. It's going to need 2 cards to block it. And that, I think, is probably going to close out the game more or less. It isn't going to kill Dash's health, but it's going to kill Dash's tempo, and I'm just not sure there's going to be the comeback after that. But I mean, it's not totally over. Let's take a look at this. So he could block for 6 with his... Okay, so he could block for 6. I think in this situation, you block with the high-speed impact and the high octane. So you're blocking for 6. On your turn, you just put the pummel in Arsenal. And but it's so bad to not be able to use the energy from that Teklo core. It's just brutal. But I think that's what you have to do. I think you have to put... No, he's just going to call it. He says GG. I do think he's at a massive disadvantage, but there is maybe an argument for like putting in the pummel in Arsenal, hoping you can survive another turn, and then going in. Yeah, it's a tough call, but this Ira deck looks like it is definitely able to stand up to the aggression of the aggro mech. And in the chat here, Chris says Ira may be an issue. Yeah, I think unfortunately it is. So this Ira deck definitely doesn't play. Early on in Blitz, I think a lot of people were thinking defense reactions are bad because if you draw them against Wizard, they don't do anything, and Wizard is debatably the best deck. This Ira deck apparently has pretty good performance against Wizard. Because they have a large number of cards. They have some pretty good aggro, especially with the Needle, since most Wizards don't run defense reactions. And then you have a lot of blue pitch that you can be using to be trying to block those Wizard attacks while still throwing out some damage of your own and doing a lot of threat. It's an interesting mix. It's a deck that is like kind of control-y, but you can still actually have some very aggro turns when you draw some good attacks. All right, and it looks like they're asking for a third game here. So a third game, and we're gonna do it. So game 3. Let's see what happens. Dash versus Ira. Can Dash finally get the win, or is this Ira deck gonna prove insurmountable for our Dash player today? Let's see what happens as we move to round 3. So one benefit of Blitz is these are quick games. I think each of those was like a 20-minute or less game. Something around there. So, in the time, like if you think a classic game, that might take 40 to 50 minutes or something. You can play, maybe 2 or 3 Blitz games in the time it would take to play one classic game. And that's even with one of the players playing a pretty defensive deck. One of the other disadvantages I thought that Ira might have is that some of these decks tend to be very grindy and the game takes a long time. But in practice, it seems like experienced players are in fact able to get games to finish on time. The Blitz timer in a tournament's like 30 minutes, and it looks like these Ira decks, those 2 games were both comfortably settled in about 20 minutes instead. So even in a tournament with strict time controls, it would be done with time to spare. Now let's see what happens here as Ira goes here. So once again, we see Dash going first, which I think is, or no, this time he has his opponent go first, which I do think is better. So then we're going to start out a Flick Flack being pitched here, coming in for 1 damage with the Harmonized Kodachi. It is going to be blocked. And then we're going to see the Zephyr Needle, and it is also going to be blocked. And then we're going to see a Sigil of Solace played to heal 3. And I might actually throw out this. No, he's not going to do it. Maybe saving it because it has synergy with the Flick Flack. It is a combo card, so it would get the extra block. I might have thrown out that Rushing River on the offense, but he didn't opt to do that. It is only 1 damage, to be fair. It's not really that high value. He would have been able to draw another card, but High Octane leading off the turn. So whenever you boost, gain an action point, draw a card. I don't think this is actually very good for this aggro deck. I'm just not sure what that action point is buying him. I feel like the action point doesn't do very much when you're using the rifle instead of the pistol. With the pistol, that extra action point is really good because you can convert it if you have energy into more shots. But I don't know. I don't think he used his extra action point last game, and I don't think he's going to use it this game either. I guess, actually, to be fair, it lets you boost without actually triggering boost, which is good to prevent you from decking out. But it's nowhere near the powerhouse that it is in the more traditional pistol-based decks, in my opinion, which could very well be wrong. So we are going to see a boosted Pedal to the Metal red. Strength 5, if it hits the next attack, gains Dominate. Let's see what defense. We're going to see here from Ira. I suspect it's going to be a block and then the red Flick Flack from Arsenal. That's exactly right. Breaking Scales, plus the red Flick Flack. Total of 5 blocked. Now that would have been very risky if we had one or of those pummels, but he did not, so pays off. Then we see the Combustible Courier here, coming in at strength 4. If this hits the next attack, you boost this combat chain, gains +3. Now I think it's possible. Oh yeah, he has actually swapped to it. I was going to say he should swap to Goliath Gauntlet instead of Iron Rot, and we actually do see that he's changed his item loadout. So now instead of the Vest of the First Fist, we do have the Teklo Foundry Heart. And instead of the Iron Rod Gauntlet, we have the Goliath Gauntlet, which I think is going to do him a lot better. Let's see how this goes. I guess the risk of the Foundry Heart, though, is that there is the chance of just burning through your deck too quickly. So he's going to have to be conservative with how he uses it. This attack seems pretty likely to be followed up by a gunshot, firing the gun for 4. That seems not bad. Blocked for 3. Interesting choice. Bit of a mistake there. I feel. I think he should have. I guess he no. Actually, this is good. This is good. I was gonna say he should have blocked with his combo card so that it would get the bonus from Flick Flack, but he actually I think he didn't want to do it because it's also his only blue pitch. Interestingly, we don't see a shot from the plasma gun here. I think I would have fired it for a 4 damage shot, but he might be trying to save it for a bigger opportunity. I'm not sure. Kadachi coming in for 1 with Go Again. Followed up by the classic Zephyr Needle for 3. Oddly, it's being blocked for 4. I'm not sure I would want to... Oh, you know what? He wants to block to prevent the mask trigger. That's fair. It's an overblock, but he wants to prevent the mask trigger. I might just let this Torrent of Tempo in. I don't think I want to block this Torrent of Tempo. On the other hand, I can see his hand, and I know... I don't know. He's thinking about it. It's a yellow Torrent of Tempo, so it's coming in for 4. If it hits, there is Go Again. The thing is, if he needs to give it Go Again, he can do it anyway with his Snapdragon Scalers. And, there isn't that much in his hand that could be all that threatening, so I think you just let this come in. But I also can see that the card in hand is not threatening in the slightest, so, maybe I am a little biased or a little overconfident in this situation. Now, interestingly, it might have been better to save the equipment block for this attack. On the other hand, you would then be at risk of being blown out by an Ancestral Empowerment getting over your block. Looks like he's going to opt for a... No, he's going to do the double block. He wants to stop that Go Again. That's interesting. Okay. A little more defensive. I guess on his turn, he can use the energy that he gets from the Tekla core to throw out a throttle and keep the other throttle in arsenal. So that's not terrible. It's not a terrible turn. Tekla core powering him up. That's another 2 energy, and there we see the throttle coming in. Throttle for 6, and he doesn't boost it. He's going to put the other throttle in arsenal. So not a huge turn, but he's kind of saving up for the future. 19 to 22, though. Those the sigils of solace there have been quite strong. Quite strong for Colin. Quite strong, indeed. That little bit of healing is very useful in Blitz. We're going to see the Springboard Somersault play. That's a total of 4, and then he's going to take 2 damage, but that just puts him back at the starting 20 thanks to the healing that I was just discussing. Okay. And now it's time for him to unleash what could be actually a pretty big turn. I guess his hand isn't as aggressive as he'd like. As he'll need to land that Soulbead Strike in order to play the Crane Dance. We'll see if he can get in. So first we see a Kadachi coming in for 1 damage. Probably this will just be let in. Interesting. The Kadachi attack's going to be blocked. Normally you wait to block the second attack, but I guess because it's coming in for 3, he can't block it with equipment, so he's opted to take the 3 there. That's an interesting strategy. So he blocked the first one. So normally against a ninja with the Mask of Momentum, you want to try to block their second attack if possible. If it looks like it's going to be easy to do, because that's going to deny the mask trigger. And then if you're confident you can block the third attack, you can save it for that. In this case, he blocks the first attack, which is less efficient, but it may actually make sense because he can block the first attack with only equipment, whereas that second attack, because it is a Zephyr Needle for 3, would merit a bigger block. The Soulbead Strike coming in for 4, but it is going to be double blocked here with a high octane blocking for 3, and then a single piece of equipment, the Tekla Foundry Heart, blocking for the extra 1. That is going to deny that on hit effect. Now, if there were an Ancestral Empowerment, it could be huge. Oh, we see the Snapdragon Scalers being used here. Snapdragon Scalers, destroy it, and the attack action gains Go Again. Then we see the Crane Dance coming out. Coming in for 3 damage and with Go Again. It can't be defended by attack action cards with base attack greater than the number of chain links. But it looks like that's just going to get allowed in. Defense reaction into Arsenal. And the turn switches over. Zero to 60. Strength 4 with boost. Boost lands, so that's going to be strength 4 with Go Again. Blocked by the Sink Below from Arsenal. Total block. Is he going to use Sink Below? That's the big question here. Does look like it. Draws up an E-Strike. That's probably something he's happy to see. Okay. Zipper hit for the follow-up. Coming in at strength 5. No boost being used this time. Once again, I think Dash is in trouble here. We'll see what happens, but this Ira deck seems like it's able to take the hits and then come back swinging. In this case, he opts to just take the damage, and I think he has a big turn of his own planned. Let's see what happens next. That E-Strike's looking scary. Blue Flick Flack pitch there, so that's going to give him 3 energy and allow his Harmonized Kadachi to swing with Go Again. 1 with Go Again, followed up by 3 from that Zephyr Needle. It is going to be blocked. Followed up by a... Ooh, he's going for the tricky play here. Soul Bead Strike Yellow, strength 3. If it hits, it gains Go Again. Ah! Well done. Well done. The double block is a good play there. It's going to deny this... this Ancestral Empowerment little sneak attack there that could have been used to get in over the block and get the Go Again. Not going to work out. So good defense there from Dash. May have seen that trick coming and thought, yeah, we're not gonna let that one happen. So then what could have been a really big turn is going to turn into a bit of a flop, and that gives Dash the opportunity to play opportunity to play a Spark of Genius, which I think is going to find a Teklo Core. Yep, there's the Teklo Core, and so Dash was able to kind of stop that turn short, and now is get the Teklo Core in play, and now has the opportunity to potentially have a huge turn with the... There's still that powerful attack in Arsenal. There's a pummel. The problem is, though, there's going to be another turn of attacks here from Ira. Let's see if that ends up getting any stuff out of our Mechanologist player's hand. Throttle there being used for the defense. I think we're going to see this followed up by an E-Strike. Probably just the E-Strike 7 here, I think. E-Strike 7. Now, this is really posing a little riddle here. Is the Mechanologist player willing to take 7 damage? Takes 7. No block. Gonna go for a big turn. Will it be enough? Teklo Core, 2 energy. Goliath Gauntlet being used. Oh, it's a huge swing. Goliath Gauntlet being used. So this is next attack action with cost 2 or greater. You play gains +2. Strength 8 with Go Again. And there is potentially going to be that pummel. This could be big. Sink Below. Sink Below is going to be used there. Followed up by a Fate Foreseen, blocking for 8. If it goes for the pummel, there's a Flick Flack waiting in hand to punish him. He might go in for 12 and have it all get stopped by defense reactions. That is brutal. There's the pummel. Up to strength 12. Now this would be crushing. He says, have another. There it is, the Flick Flack. There is another. And that's honestly probably the game. Went for the huge play, and it just got denied. There's not a lot looking good. He took that 7 damage from the E-Strike to do this huge play. Didn't land. That is brutal. That's the strength of the defense of this Ira deck. To be fair, it was also a luckily extra defensive hand, but Colin had what it took to stop this one short. Ooh, getting a little tricky here. Harmonized Kadachi being used with the Tunic, so it doesn't have go again right now. Oh, but there's the Razor Reflex for the +3. And that's game. Yep, there's the GG. Once again, Dash just wasn't able to get through. We like this. I don't feel like the Dash player was playing this poorly necessarily. I think that this might just be a matchup that the deck is not very well equipped for. It seemed like Ira just has the answers here, with having enough defense to stop the very aggressive turns there from Dash. With all those defense reacts, while still throwing out some threatening damage, even just 1+3 with the simple Kadachi plus Zephyr Needle, that itself is pretty scary. And when other cards get added in there, it becomes really bad. So, yeah, too many reacts. It's a tough situation, but I think this aggro Dash just doesn't have what it takes here. We'll have to see. It's possible there's some tech in this matchup that we haven't figured out yet. Maybe you're gonna put CNCs in there or something. That degrades your boost percentages though, so it's pretty risky, but it would, potentially do a lot. 10 defense reacts apparently. Yeah, that makes sense because it's gonna be 2 red Fate Foreseen, 2 red Sink Belows, 2 Springboard Somersaults, which only come in yellow, and then 2 red Flick Flax and 2 blue Flick Flax. Plus a lot of defense from combo cards, which gets even better with the Flick Flax. Nasty stuff. All right, well, that's going to do it for this broadcast. So this Ira deck, one of the stronger decks that we've seen in the early Blitz meta, really proving strong with Colin here piloting it to 3 victories in a row against an aggro Dash. That's going to do it for this stream, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back later with some more Flesh and Blood content. Catch you later, guys.